My wife and I were struggling, but this time she humiliated me in front of her family, threatening divorce. "You're a failure, can't even pay the bills," she said, throwing my wallet on the table. "She deserves better." Her sister's husband laughed, eyeing my car. I didn't fight, just walked out. 4 days later, they were stressed. My voicemail had 13 messages begging me. Something felt off when I came home early last Tuesday. Our driveway had unfamiliar tire marks, and through the window, I could see Regina frantically moving around our bedroom. Not packing for a trip, methodically wrapping all the gifts I'd given her over our 5 years together. I stood in the doorway watching as she carefully cushioned the Tag Heuer watch I'd saved 6 months for last Christmas, still in its original box. She didn't notice me at first, too busy humming while wrapping the diamond earrings from our anniversary in bubble wrap. The ones I'd picked up extra shifts to afford. "Going somewhere?" I kept my voice steady, even as my stomach turned to ice. She jumped, nearly dropping the jewelry box, then quickly composed herself into that smirk I'd started seeing more often lately. "Oh, you're home early." She didn't even try to hide what she was doing. "Well, saves me having to text you. I'm leaving. Colton and I are moving in together." Colton, her boss. The one she'd been working late with for the past few months. The one she'd said I was paranoid about. I'd seen this coming. Had been watching the signs build up for weeks. The late nights. The new clothes. The way she'd started treating me with barely concealed contempt. "And you're taking everything I ever gave you?" Again, keeping my voice level. She actually laughed. "Of course, I earned these putting up with you." She gestured around our bedroom. "My bedroom now, I supposed." "You know what Colton said when he saw this watch? He said it was cute that you thought this was luxury. He wears one's worth 10 times this." I said nothing. Just watched her pack. It was fascinating. Really? Seeing someone show their true colors so completely. She took my silence as weakness. "God, even now you just stand there like a pathetic little boy. This is why I'm leaving. Colton's a real man. He knows what he wants and takes it. While you..." She waved dismissively at me, at our modest 3-bedroom house I'd worked so hard to afford. "You're just mediocre. Content with your little life. Do you know what Colton's making? What he's promised me?" I did know, actually. More than she realized. But I kept quiet, letting her talk. Every word was another nail in her coffin, though she didn't know it yet. "I already moved most of our money," she continued, clearly enjoying herself now. "Don't worry, I left you enough for ramen noodles." She laughed again, high and cruel. "Colton says I was stupid to waste my best years with someone so basic. But I'm fixing that now." Through the window, I could see our neighbor Mabel in her garden, pretending not to watch. "Good. Witnesses can be useful." "You're right about one thing," I finally said, my voice still calm. "I am basic. Basic enough to document everything." That got her attention. The smirk faltered slightly. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing really. Just that I'm basic enough to keep receipts. Basic enough to make copies of bank statements. Basic enough to save texts. Basic enough to record conversations." I shrugged. "You know, basic stuff." She tried to laugh it off, but I saw the flicker of uncertainty. "Please, like that matters? You think anyone cares about your little record keeping?" "Maybe. Maybe not. Like you said, I'm just a basic guy who documents things. But hey, don't let me keep you. Colton's waiting, right?" I stepped aside from the doorway. She hesitated for just a moment before grabbing her bags. As she brushed past me, I caught a whiff of unfamiliar cologne. Expensive. The kind of scent that tries too hard. "You'll regret this," she spat, trying to get back her earlier confidence. "When you see me with Colton, living the life you could never give me. We'll see." I watched her struggle with the bags. Didn't offer to help. "Oh, and Regina? The joint account you cleared out? That was just my basic emergency fund. The real money?" I smiled. "Well, like I said, I'm basic enough to plan ahead." She slammed the door hard enough to rattle the windows. Through the glass, I saw her almost trip on her way to the waiting car. Colton didn't get out to help her with the bags. Interesting. I waited until they drove away before pulling out my phone and opening my password-protected folder. 6 months of documented changes in behavior. Screenshots of deleted messages I'd recovered. Bank statements. Records of unusual work hours. And so much more. Mabel was still in her garden. I caught her eye and waved. She hurried over. "Adrian, I saw everything. The way she talked to you, I recorded some of it on my phone. I was so shocked. Do you need me to be a witness or anything?" "Maybe," I said. "Would you mind sending me that recording?" Basic. That's what Regina called me. She's right. I am basic. Basic enough to know that the best revenge isn't loud or flashy. It's methodical, careful, documented. They think they've won. Think I'm just going to roll over and accept this. That's fine. Let them think that. I've got time. I've got evidence. And most importantly, I've got nothing left to lose. This is just the beginning. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. Thanks for all the support. Yes, I'll update when I can. And to everyone asking, don't worry, I'm not doing anything stupid or illegal. Just watching karma do its work. And maybe helping karma along a little. Update. First, thank you all for the support on my last post. A lot has happened in the past 2 weeks, and honestly, everything is going exactly as planned. Remember how Regina called me basic for documenting everything? Well, karma's funny that way. While she's been posting Instagram stories from fancy restaurants with Colton, and tagging me in them, real mature, I've been quietly making moves. It started when Regina's sister Poppy reached out through Facebook. Turns out Regina told her family I was mentally unstable and financially controlling. That's why she hadn't visited in months. Funny thing about lies though, they fall apart real quick when you have proof. I sent Poppy screenshots of our joint account statements, the spa days, the shopping sprees, all while I was picking up extra work to cover our mortgage. Then I showed her the video Mabel recorded of Regina's little goodbye speech. You know, the one where she bragged about taking her share of our savings? Poppy was quiet for a long moment on FaceTime. Then she said something interesting. This isn't the first time she's done this. Apparently, Regina pulled something similar in college. Dated a guy for 3 years, convinced him to put her through school, then left him for someone with better prospects the week after graduation. Her family had always wondered about that situation, but Regina played victim so well. She has mom's old wedding ring, Poppy mentioned. The one grandma gave her. She told us you were keeping it hostage. I had to laugh. That ring was in the box of basic gifts she took, along with everything else I'd given her over 5 years. Speaking of gifts, my friend Holden from high school works at Regina's company. When I mentioned the watch incident, he got real quiet. Turns out Colton has a reputation. He likes to mentor younger employees, buys them expensive gifts, then discards them once he gets bored. But hey, that's just office gossip, right? The best part. While Regina's been playing trophy girlfriend, I've been networking. Remember those clients I mentioned working with? Turns out they're not big fans of office romance scandals. 3 of them have already jumped ship to the competition. Totally their choice, of course. I just happened to mention I was making a career move myself. But here's where it gets good. Yesterday, I ran into Rain at the gym. Yeah, that Rain. Regina's former best friend from college. They had some falling out years ago that Regina never explained. We got talking and wow, the stories she had to tell. She hasn't changed at all, Rain said over protein shakes. Still looking for her next upgrade. Then she smiled. Want to grab dinner? I said yes. We're meeting tonight at that new place downtown. You know, the one Regina's been trying to get Colton to take her to. Rain suggested it. Said she'd love to post some pics on Instagram. Oh, and about that emergency fund Regina cleaned out. Turns out reading her personal finance obsessively had its perks. That account was just the tip of the iceberg. The real savings? Safe and sound, spread across 3 different banks. Basic, right? But the cherry on top came this morning. Mabel texted me a screenshot from our neighborhood Facebook group. Regina's been messaging everyone, trying to warn them about me. Problem is, half the street saw her performance that day. And Mabel, she's the group admin. Post denied. So here we are. Regina thinks she's won, living her best life with her upgrade. Colton thinks he scored an easy trophy. And me, I'm just being basic. Making friends, sharing stories, keeping receipts. Next week should be interesting. There's some big announcement coming at their company. Something about restructuring. But I'm sure they've got nothing to worry about. After all, Colton's such a real man who knows what he wants and takes it. We'll see how that works out for them. Update 2. Well, Reddit. You know that saying about karma? Sometimes karma needs a little push, and watching it unfold is better than any Netflix series. The company announcement dropped yesterday. Remember those rumors about restructuring? Turns out the competition, my new employer, bought them out. And guess who's on the transition team reviewing departments? This basic guy right here. But let me back up to last week, because that's when things really started getting good. It started with Regina showing up at my door at 7 a.m., makeup smeared, screaming about how I planned this. Apparently, Colton's been stressed about work and taking it out on her. Their perfect life. Not so perfect. The designer bags and fancy dinners were all on credit cards. His credit cards. Cards that are now maxed out. You did this? She shrieked while I calmly sipped my morning coffee on the porch. Mabel was out walking her dog, phone definitely recording. You turned everyone against us. I just smiled. How exactly did I do that, Regina? By letting you tell the truth about yourself. That set her off. She started listing all the ways I'd ruined their lives. How dare I date Rain? How dare I let Poppy show those screenshots to their parents? How dare I exist and not just disappear like a good little ex-husband? You're pathetic, she spat. You think getting a better job makes you a man? Colton still makes 3 times what you do. Does he though? I asked quietly. Maybe you should check those numbers again. She went pale. See, the merger news wasn't public yet, but Regina's always been bad at reading confidential emails thoroughly, especially the parts about post-merger performance reviews. The next day, Colton tried to play tough guy. Caught me outside the coffee shop where Rain and I were having breakfast. He's taller than me, used to intimidating people. Tried to crowd me against my car. Listen here, you little shit, he growled, all expensive cologne and desperate bravado. I don't know what game you're playing. I cut him off. No games, Colton. Just business. By the way, how's that audit going? He blinked. What audit? The one starting Monday. Standard procedure during mergers. They'll be reviewing everything. Expenses, client accounts, those business dinners you've been charging to the company card. I smiled. Should be interesting. He tried to maintain his cool, but I saw the sweat forming on his forehead. You don't know anything. Maybe not. Like Regina said, I'm just basic, but I do know numbers. And yours? I looked him straight in the eye. They don't add up. He left without another word. Rain caught the whole thing on her Instagram live. Accidentally. Of course. The next week was beautiful chaos. Regina's parents called a family meeting about the wedding ring situation. Turns out Regina had pawned grandma's ring for a down payment on a Gucci bag. Poppy was livid. Their mom cried. Regina blamed me somehow, but the pawn shop receipt had her signature. Colton's facade started cracking too. The audit revealed some creative accounting. Nothing illegal, he's not that stupid, but enough to raise serious concerns about judgment, especially combined with the office gossip about his pattern with younger employees. Yesterday, it all came to a head. Regina showed up at my office, mascara running, clutching printouts of her credit card statements. Please, she begged, you have to help me. Colton, he's not who I thought. I just pointed to the door. My lawyer's contact info hasn't changed. You're enjoying this, aren't you? She hissed, mask slipping back into place. Playing your little mind games. No games, Regina, just consequences. Like you said, a real man knows what he wants and takes it. I wanted my life back. I wanted the truth out. I took both. Security escorted her out. As she left, I heard her scream, "This isn't over." She's right about that. The merger finalizes next week. Colton's performance review is on my desk right now. His department's numbers are interesting. And Regina? She just got an email about the company's new anti-nepotism policy. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about what you do. It's about letting people destroy themselves while you simply document everything. Final update. It's done. Finally done. And better than I could have ever planned. The merger finalized last week. Colton didn't even make it to the final review. He had a complete meltdown in the middle of the office, all because I approved an audit of his expense reports. Nothing illegal found, I almost wish there was, but the pattern was enlightening. Expensive dinners with clients who turned out to be dates, hotel conferences that never existed. Small stuff, but it adds up. When HR called him in, he lost it. Started screaming about conspiracies and how I orchestrated everything. Threw his laptop across the room. Real alpha male stuff. Security caught it all on camera. But the best part, Regina was there. She'd shown up to support him, wearing the Cartier bracelet he'd bought her last month. The one she'd been flashing on Instagram with hashtags like #blessed and #upgradedlife. Tell them, she screamed at him, tell them how much money you really have. Show them your accounts. Turns out Mr. I make 3 times what your pathetic ex makes, had been living on credit cards and loans. That fancy car, leased. Designer suits. Payment plan. Their luxury apartment, 3 months behind on rent. Regina's face when she saw the real numbers. Priceless. Actually, no, it probably cost about as much as that bracelet she was wearing. The bracelet that, as it turns out, was as fake as their relationship. She completely lost it. Started throwing things at him right there in the office. You lying piece of shit. You said you were rich. You said we'd have everything. Someone got it all on their phone. It's probably on TikTok by now. But here's where it gets really good. Remember my basic emergency fund she cleaned out? The one that was just ramen money? Well, I had a meeting with the bank yesterday. Turns out unauthorized withdrawals from joint accounts are frowned upon during divorce proceedings, especially when the person making the withdrawal lied about their partner's consent. The look on her face when the bank called her about repayment, that was worth every penny she took. She showed up at my house last night, 3 a.m., pounding on the door, screaming about how I ruined her life. Mabel got it all on video. Again, that woman deserves an Oscar for her timing with that phone. You did this? Regina was hysterical. You planned all of it, the merger, the audit, everything? You turned everyone against us. I opened the door but stayed behind the security chain. No, Regina, you did this. I just kept receipts. I'll tell everyone what you really are, she threatened. I'll post everything online. Go ahead, I said, holding up my phone. I've got the real receipts. Want to compare notes? She crumpled then. Started crying about how she'd made a mistake, how she missed me, how we could work things out. Please, she begged. I was wrong. You're not basic. You're successful? Stable? Everything Colton pretended to be? The rage came back instantly. You smug bastard. You think you've won. You'll what? Rain's voice came from behind me. Make up more lies? Pawn more family heirlooms? Regina stumbled back like she'd been slapped. Rain stepped into view, wearing my old college sweatshirt. You, and her? Regina whispered. How long? Since you showed your true colors, Rain said. Karma's funny that way. We closed the door on her screaming. Through the window, I watched her storm off to her beat-up Honda, quite a downgrade from Colton's leased BMW. This morning, I signed the final divorce papers. My lawyer says Regina's trying to contest the settlement, but the documentation speaks for itself. All those screenshots, recordings, and bank statements? Basic stuff really. Oh, and that house they were planning to buy. The one Regina kept posting about with #Dream Home? Guess who just made an offer the sellers couldn't refuse? Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying someone. It's about letting them destroy themselves while you succeed. Basic, right?